The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let's see, relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. The Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue. The show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh. Traffic Avenue. Oh yeah.
City 97.3. Accra.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. City News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
City News.
Taxi now.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadi. Tonight, I'm here with.
And
coming up over the next 90 minutes.
2025, we are going to grant a tax amnesty to all businesses and individuals and start afresh.
That's Dr. Mahmoud Obawumia. He's the MPP flag bearer. He's also the vice president. He was speaking about taxes. And talking about taxes, he is taking on the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRE, for harassing businesses under the pretext of collecting taxes. We understand more what the vice president meant when he made the statement that he made today. Also, Ghana's education sector to face another major setback as 3 teacher unions declare a nationwide strike. These are teachers at the basic level.
And later on Eyewitness
News, the Electoral Commission is in the news and is denying allegations that some of its biometric verification devices have disappeared. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Ghana's economy grew by 2.9% in 2023, largely driven by oil and gas.
That's in 50 minutes from the City Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations across the globe on citynewsroom.com. We are also on YouTube. We are interactive. If you want to listen to City Eyewitness News outside Accra, let me give you a host of affiliate stations that can bring you that broadcast. In the Northeast region, we are on the Nakpanduri Escarpment on a radio station called Scarp FM on 101.3. In Upper East, we are in Boku on Source 100.1 FM. In the Upper West region, we are on Westlink Radio 88.1. It's based in Laura. In the Northern region, we are in the capital Tamale via Diamond 93.7 FM.
In the Volta region,
you can catch us in Ho on Global 105.1 FM. We are also in Adakluwaya on Adanu 107.7 FM.
In the Ashanti region, we are in
Kumasi on Alpha Radio 104.9
and also
Orange
Orange
107.9 FM.
In the
Bono
Bono region,
region,
we are on
Rina
95.9
95.9 FM in Sunyani,
in
Ahafo on Hammers
106.5
106.5
FM
FM in Gosu.
In the Western region, we are in Takrady on Premier 100.5 FM, Sky Power 93.5 FM, and Beach 105.5 FM. Let's know what you make of the stories we are bringing you. 0549 986 996 0549 986 996. Those are the WhatsApp numbers that you can send your message to. Let's start off with the education sector now. And three teacher unions have declared a strike. They say that conditions of service are not good, and the strike is effective today. The three unions, the Ghana National Association of Teachers, which is the oldest teacher union, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the latest kid on the block concerned Population of Concerned Teachers, CCT. Herbert Forsen is the General Secretary of the Concerned Teachers Association. Herbert, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Good evening, and good evening to all your listeners.
Is this an abrupt decision, or this is a decision that has been long in coming?
This decision has been on our table for long, but just that we've been waiting and expecting GES and storages to act on our demands, but they have turned deaf ears to our demands, and hence our action today.
Let's talk about your demands. What are these demands?
Fine. So, early this year, we started, in fact, late last year into this year, we started the negotiations of our collective agreement, and it's supposed to have ended in this year, February 29th. As we speak, it looks like we have left the negotiations hanging, and we think it's not fair to our request because teachers have been lacking behind and we've been crying all this while that the conditions of service of teachers have not been good. If it has expired and we are expected to renew it, what is keeping us from meeting and to get all these things addressed? The second one is a scheme of service. You remember during the famous strike that happened when Dr. Nkansa was appointed as the Director General for GES. You saw what happened in Ghana. We went on strike and then we were forced to get back to the classroom. All because our scheme of service is supposed to have been negotiated and we're supposed to have scheme of service that will help us progress in terms of our ladder and then also appoint people to the respective offices like the Director General. We were challenged by NLC that we didn't have a scheme of service and therefore we could not challenge his appointment. And that defeated the whole fight that we generated during that time. And we think it is fair that if we have negotiated and we have actually started the process of getting the scheme of service, we need the parties to sit down so that we can get it done. So that in the next foreseeable future, if there's any form of appointment, we can have basis to argue on some of these things. But all these things have been left unattended to. Then the third one is the following. Now, Special Prosecutor has laid embargo on some salaries of some of our members. And we think it's not fair because we expect that due process should be taken through. Some teachers genuinely are still in classroom, they are teaching, but their salaries are still held. And we think OSP must release those salaries. And we think we've been making this calls for the past 1 month, but it looks like nobody is attending to us. And we think that it is due that we strike so that listen to our demands. These are some of the things we have put on the table for now.
Herbert, these three things you've mentioned, in the past when teacher unions are on strike, we know that their salaries have not been paid or some issues. But these three issues you raised, are they issues that are easily understandable to the student who would miss classes tomorrow and to the parent who would have to stay at home and take care of their child because you're not going to be in school? And to the education director and the circuit supervisor who would meet empty schools tomorrow. These are your reasons. Are they cogent enough in your estimation?
Umar, you agree with me that anytime somebody calls for strike, the reasons may not be cogent for the one who is being affected by the strike. But the one who is embarking on the strike knows that it's very important to him or her. Now, if we talk about condition of service, that is what is keeping me in GES. That is actually defining my profession. And if that thing has expired and all these years or this time around we are not getting it done, then you should expect that it is a very cogent reason and I must demand it. So it is very important. For the students, we don't have to explain these things to them. But so far as we are embarking on strike, from tomorrow, they'll begin to feel the pinch and then necessary reasons or necessary explanations will be given to them. For parents, they must bear with us in this fight because we need to demand it. And you see, without a good teacher and without a motivated teacher in the classroom, you do not have a classroom. You do not have a class. And that principle must be set all these years because if the teacher is not motivated, the teacher will go and teach all right, but the kind of spirit that he or she is expected to exhibit in the classroom will not be there. And Omar, you know that. So this demands as to whether the CS, the CISO, the headmaster, the director will have a feel of the strike. For that one, we know that it will by all means affect the teaching and learning process, but we need to demand it. And then if stakeholders sit down and we negotiate for them, we can settle these things amicably.
On the issue of the OSP, that would mean that the OSP is investigating something that the OSP believes is criminal. You are suggesting by your strike that the OSP should not investigate a crime committed allegedly by teachers, and for that matter, you want to do a class action against the OSP? Is that fair too?
Honestly, that is not our statement. What we are saying is that some due process is not being followed in this embargo that has been laid upon our members. And that is what we are calling the OSP's minds to, so that at least we could address them. Because if you just put them block that these people are not supposed to be paid, whilst there are legitimate reasons why they must be paid, then it calls for a worry. And that is why we are calling that the OSP should relook at the decision of placing embargo on these teachers. That is the whole reason. We think that there's a due process that must be followed. In fact, the person who is even suffering from this embargo must be informed. So most of the teachers are not informed. They are not even aware that somebody is investigating them. Then all of a sudden, their salary is blocked.
How have discussions been? When was the last time you had any discussion with government, if there has been any discussion at all, since you started hinting of a strike?
Honestly, we stated in our press statement, negotiations were supposed to end in February by 29th of February. So everybody who is supposed to sit by the table is aware. And we've been engaging fair wages all this while. But we've not had any tangible call from fair wages. So for us, we think that they decided to leave us to our fate. And that is why we are embarking on this strike.
All right. The Fair Wages has spoken about your strike. I want you to kindly stay on and listen to him, and then let's get a reaction from you, if you don't mind. So Engineer Benjamin Arthur is the Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Let's listen to him.
We were very much surprised that without serving the employer with the necessary notice, without serving the necessary notice to the National Labour Commission, they have declared strike. In any case, in our opinion, if what they have cited as delays in negotiation is anything to go by, then the strike is what is really going to cause the delay, because we had made tremendous progress and we were very expectant that Thursday by 10 a.m. By 2, at least we should be able to, if possible, conclude the negotiation. We believe that this action is in bad faith, and we are calling on the leadership of the pre-tertiary teacher unions to call off the strike and let us continue to engage. After all, what is the essence of a strike? It's to draw the attention of some maybe grievances so that interventions can be introduced. But in this case, we've even signed rules of engagement as to how we should continue to engage. So if you have any grievances, we have National Labour Commission there to petition. Why not that approach? what is the motivation for ambushing all of us by declaring a strike? I want to take this opportunity to call on all stakeholders that the time has come for us to begin vigorously to change our labor laws. Because if we are not careful, it is gradually eating into national stability and national security concerns. If 2-3 people can just simply take a sheet of paper and sign and declare a nationwide strike in such a way that our children cannot go to school, we have to begin to look at these things again. I think that we will also go back, sit back, and see how best as representing the government team together with our major stakeholders, we should be able to put our heads together to pull through this matter. But we're also calling on parents and students, people who are affected, to remain calm whilst we look for lasting solutions.
So that's the CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Engineer Benjamin Arthur. Mr. Ako Forson, you are still on the line. He said that you did not give any notice to the NLC. Negotiations were continuing. They were hoping that you will be concluding that on Thursday. And then you decided to embark on this strike without even going to complain about any grievances that you may have. And that your strike is in bad faith. What do you say?
Thank you very much. I think I'm very disappointed in Engineer Atta for calling upon stakeholders to start a process of revising the labor laws. He's very aware, and he knows what happened in Koforidua. This is not a platform for us to go into some of these things. Negotiations began in Koforidua. It didn't end well. You waited. Then yesterday, Omar, I'm giving you an information. Yesterday, 8 p.m., we received a letter from Fair Wages inviting us to come and continue with the negotiation. Say, is that fair? He's calling for fairness. Then you also mentioned that 3 people will just go and sign. This is affront to us. This is disrespect to us. I mean, it's not fair. You don't have to use such statements. You know that in labor, we sit down and jaw and we talk about some of these things. You don't put our leadership on the spot like that. He knows very well that you don't call us for meeting around 8 p.m. Sir, I am in the office as I speak. I received the letter today around 4 p.m. The letter is with me right now. The letter inviting us for meeting tomorrow, 4 p.m. today. What are we doing? We have to be honest about some of these things. If he knows that we not to continue with the negotiation, he should have called the meeting long ago. When he had a wind of our strike, he intentionally invited us to a meeting. He knows that he's not negotiating well. And we will not take it lightly. So, sir, some of these things are private to us. We will meet him. All that we are supposed to say, we will say it. But we must all be fair to each other so that we can actually tone down the pain of teachers. In fact, we have enough. We've had enough, and we don't want that to continue. That is why we are embarking on this strike. He should do the right thing so that we all sit down and finish this negotiation. Thank you very much.
So now that you have started the strike, you were given a letter last night to come for negotiations, and knowing that you can't be negotiating while on strike, what should we expect? Would you honor the invitation to go for the negotiations tomorrow, and which would mean then that you would have to suspend your strike, or what's the way forward?
Like I told you, we just received the letter. So by all means, leadership will consider it. But until that time, the strike is still in force.
Do your teachers know that you're on strike?
Yes, they had the information today. So by all means, tomorrow it will start gathering momentum.
Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much.
That's Herbert Forson. He's General Secretary of the Concerned Teachers Association. 3 groups of teacher unions at the basic school level, pre-tertiary, deciding to embark on a strike on a number of issues that they say they've raised, which issues have been ignored. Let me just say that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission will be on point blank. That will be at 6:30 or 18:30 GMT. You want to stay tuned in so that we can hear your side of the story. And if there's need to go back to the teachers, we will do so. But this Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have other stories that we are looking at. In relation to education, Nooks has a concern. Because I was at Forgive me, your name. Enu, help me with that story, please.
The National Union of Ghana Students is expressing deep concern over the alleged victimization of student leaders by university authorities. The union says it has received complaints of several incidents of harassment, intimidation, and unfair treatment towards local NUGS leadership, raising serious questions about the state of student rights and academic freedom within higher educational institutions. Here's President of NUGS, Daniel Oponcham, speaking to Citi News on the issue.
Even Central University College and also CKT UTAS. Recently, for the past almost 2 years, GTEC and even Parliament has passed the 15% cap on all schools. That means no institution is supposed to increase their fees above the 15% capping that was brought by Parliament. But you get to CKT UTAS, former UDS Navrongo, and the school management has increased their fees more than 15%. We've had student leaders who've engaged them severally to ensure that they comply by the 15%. But at the end of the day, when they push, there's a whole lot of victimizations, and they are not even giving them that hearing. And now most of our students are at the verge of even deferring their programs because the management have decided to take an entrenched position and decide not to even listen to the student leaders. A similar example is in Central University College when school fees are being paid and the session is deducted for SRC dues and all that. The student leaders approach dean of students and all that, even after the accrual of all the fees, demand funds to run the SRC program, demand funds to run welfare programs for students whose school fees has been deducted for dues. They approach dean of students, they approach management, and it's become a story that these students are not getting access to. And as they continuously push, it becomes a whole different story of a lot of threats and all these kind of. And it's something that is prevalent in other institutions as well.
Daniel Oponcham is the president of the National Union of Ghana Students.
The Lasitolo Senior High School in the Upper West region remains closed down 10 days after fire destroyed its multi-purpose dining hall. The fire consumed various assets of the school, including 900 new desks, 500 dining tables, and assorted food items valued at thousands of Ghana cedis. The decision to close down the school was taken by the district and regional directors of education due to the impact on the students. In an interview with Citi News, the accountant of the school, Timothy Fiagra, called for support in the construction of a temporary structure to ensure redemption of school activities.
It's a multi-purpose area. The kitchen is attached to it. And while the kitchen too bent, there wasn't anything. All the cooking utensils bent. The iron pots, the silvers, everything. And even the food stuff also got bent. Because that's where the stores too are. There are 2 stores attached to it. Everything bent. It was a tough moment at that time. So, but we were waiting for the officials, that the district director and that of the regional director of education, come and then confirm that whether we should close the school down. Because everything was bent down. The dining hall, the food staff, everything is joint. It's a joint building. So we had nothing to do or to cook for the students at that time. So it was necessary for us to close down the school. So when they came, they said we have to let them go. So at the moment, there's a committee set for the ad hoc committees that formed, and yesterday we had the final report. So we are now appealing to the benevolent organization to help us to see how we can put a temporary structure and then let the fundraisers come, and when the fund ones are also due to come, they also come and join.
Timothy Fiagri is the accountant of the Lasitolo Senior High School.
The 2022 batch of the Coalition of Unemployed Trained Teachers has raised concerns with the Ghana Education Services recruitment process for trained teachers. According to the coalition, government is yet to post its members, although they completed their mandatory national service in December last year. Speaking to Citi News, Secretary of the Coalition of Unemployed Trained Teachers 2022 batch, Solomon Vodugu says if the relevant authorities fail to address their concerns by the end of the month, they would advise themselves on the next line of action.
So it was 2022 that we completed, and 2023 last year was our national service period. January 2024 was our leave month. So from February, March is where we have the problem that we are unemployed. In fact, our agitation is based on numerous factors. That is, 1, the trend of recruitment process by GES in the last 4 years. That was from 2019 to 2023. 2018 graduates, the diploma batch who started the national service. They started national service in January 2029. The portal was open for them. Our recruitment process started in December 1st, 2019. And when we come to 2019 graduates, they started their national service January 2020. The process started for them in September 2020. So they did not even finish before they started the recruitment process for them. I think we have exhausted the diplomatic steps because we tried to engage them but don't avail.
That was the Secretary of the Coalition of Unemployed Trained Teachers 2022 batch, Solomon Vodugu.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Ghana must grow.
KB, yo. Hey, KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program because every step pays. Ejuma Wokro, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
You know, Papa, see that? And it's Rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched. Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Mr. Mane, sorry. Chairman Omani. Chairman. Hey, Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shane Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97. .com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Let's do some more stories. Flag bearer of the new patriotic party authority of harassing businesses under the guise of collecting tax.
According to Dr. Balmia, the current situation exists because the Ghana
Authority sets unrealistic targets for its officers, which force them to continue
tax existing businesses.
Harassment is coming from the sort of target they are setting their officers. They are setting them unrealistic targets. So you say, and this is because the tax base is so narrow. So you say to them, this is your target for this month. They are trying to figure out, where do I go? Then, for them, it's very easy. You go back to where you got it the last time, isn't it? You go to the taxpayers, the people who are already paying taxes, And then you have to come up with a new reason why they should pay more. So you come up with all sorts of stuff. I mean, they themselves sometimes, frankly, don't understand the tax code. There are a lot of good, hard-working people there. They are my friends. But I'm saying that the targets that they are set, these hard-working officers, sometimes are very unrealistic. And that leads to harassment of business. Because you have to, you say prepay when you haven't earned 1 cent, 1 city, and you have to prepay. And so I've been looking at this very, very seriously, and we are going to change the system.
To address this, Dr. Bawumia assured of introducing a flat tax rate in 2025 and give amnesty to all businesses if voted into power.
In 2025, we are going to grant a tax amnesty to all businesses and individuals and start afresh. All businesses and individuals will have a tax amnesty and we will start afresh. So we are going to start a new system. It's a flat tax system. So we are going to wipe the slate clean for every individual and every business. And Ghana is going to start a new tax system, a flat tax system, as we have in Estonia. And in addition, we are going to do faceless audits. Officials should not come to businesses to do audits. The digital framework, you should have the information and audit facelessly and send whatever your audit findings are.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also reiterated his vision to shift the development focus from social interventions championed by the Nana Akufo-Addo-led government to enhancing businesses and the private sector.
We need to be transformational. And so we need to be taking decisions that will transform the country. And I don't believe going forward we are going to be doing the same things. I want us to do new things. I want us to do things we have not done before. And so I know that with you, we are going to work very closely together. I made the point on February 7th that where I want to go with this country, I said that in our first couple of terms in office, we have focused as a government.
Dr. Bawumia also revealed that President Akufo-Addo will on March 25 commission the distribution of laptops to every senior high school student across the country as part of the Smart School project spearheaded by the Ministry of Education.
This is where we want to go. We have set up STEM schools for the first time in our history, and the curriculum is going to change. We are going to make coding a mandatory subject in senior high schools. But we are not just talking about it, we are doing it. On the 25th of this month, the president is going to commission laptops for every single senior high school student in Ghana. One student, one laptop. Without a laptop, how do you learn coding? How do you learn? We have to give these young people the tools so that we inculcate this whole transformation in the whole system, so that they will feel that the society is ready for us to go to the next level. So this is where we are headed as a country. We want to lead. And so it's something that I am very excited about as far as our young people are concerned. They are brilliant, and we should do that.
You heard the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. So he's talked about a number of things there. We've heard him, but let's understand the policy idea or what the proposal really is. Dennis Miracles Abuaji is a spokesperson to the Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia campaign team. He's joined us on the line. You're welcome, sir.
Mr. Sanda, thank you, my brother.
When the sitting vice president is heard accusing a state institution like the Revenue Authority of harassment. That sounds off to me. Help me make sense of what exactly the VIP was trying to say.
Well, I don't think the VIP's position is an issue of attack. I think this is not the first time Dr. Mahmoud Bamia has raised this point. He's been a chief advocate of the GRA being a bit more creative in the approach they use with revenue mobilization. I mean, he's been constant on that. He's of the view that the GRA, and not just the GRA, and all other public institutions should be a bit more creative in the way we go about our activities. And he's not only advocating, he's been leading the drive towards this. And there are several public institutions that you can point to with the vice president, having worked with them over the period to see some improvement in the way they deliver their services. I mean, you recall that recently at some point the GRA basically was living permanently in people's businesses and people's shops and people's premises. You recall when some of our citizens in Abusiokai and other places were complaining that they felt suffocated with the way GRA wake up in the morning, you open your shop and they're in front of the shop and they sit there morning till evening with you. I mean, you may not necessarily be doing anything untoward, but the presence of GRA and NEC is not the best. And the vice president is of the view that there are a lot more creative ways to still ensure that monitoring and supervision is efficient without necessarily letting the citizens feel that you are harassing them. I mean, there is technology. There are ways that these things can be deployed digitally to ensure that the GRA is able to track everything without necessarily being seen as doing these things in a Rambo style. And I think it's something that he's been advocating for a while now. And
so why doesn't he have it changed now? If it's a problem for businesses, why do we have to wait till 2025?
Well, these are work in progress, and the fact that GRA as an organization needs to tweak and improve on these things, and they haven't done it yet, doesn't stop the vice president from highlighting these things when he says that, listen, these are things that we need to work towards and ensure that we get there. About a week ago, the vice president launched the Ghana card at best. This is something he had mentioned about a year or 2 years ago, and yet it came to fruition, or it materialized just last week. So the vice president mentioning it is just to let the stakeholders within the space understand that, listen, I acknowledge this challenge. I understand that it is not the best. I think that the GRA as an institution can do better, and it's something that we're advocating for and working with them to get it done. And I think that is how you should look at it. But it's important that as a leader, at every point in time, you're able to clearly itemize what you believe the challenge is and what you believe the difficulties that the citizens are going through is. And then once you align with them, it even makes solving the problem a bit more easier. So it's work in progress. It's something that the vice president is committed to, and it's something that everybody in this country can acknowledge that he is a champion of, and eventually we should see some improvement in that space.
What about the tax amnesty? Does it mean the whole of 2025 nobody will pay tax? Is that what it means?
No, basically what the vice president is saying is that at some point you definitely have some people saddled with certain arrears and certain backlogs, for which reason they are unable to even come clean or clear when it comes to their current tax obligations, and that suffocates them so much that it even affects the resuscitation of their businesses. He's of the view that come 2025, it's important that we start with a clean slate. Let's give some tax amnesty to people who probably have some backlogs, arrears, and for which reason they are unable to come out of, which is affecting their businesses, so their businesses can thrive and grow, and then they can be compliant or be consistent with with their tax obligations. I think it's something that even the GRA on regular does sometimes. And if you see that every individual or every business that is engulfed in such a situation will be given that amnesty, it's a way of the Vice President trying to widen the tax brackets, bring a lot more people in, ensure that businesses will have a breather to be able to recover and be a bit more sustainable so they can even pay more.
And that's the same with the flat tax rate. So everybody's going to pay the same thing, regardless of what business they run.
You know, the flat tax rates, for example, he mentioned that there's going to be a flat tax rate for the spare parts importers. So today, if you import spare parts to Ghana and you probably bring a 40-feet container, you have a GRA officer opening the container, and then you'll be going through the contents of the container. Even though they are all spare parts, there's some form of discretion there, and they'll have to go through it one by one and say, because you brought a 2015 Benz headlight, you have to pay this. Or you brought a 2012 BMW light, you have to pay this. And before you are given how much you're supposed to pay for a 40-feet container spare parts. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia believes that come 2025, spare parts importers should be given a flat rate based on the size of your container and not the content of your container. This would ensure that these importers will be able to have a lot more funds available to import more, to expand their businesses, which invariably will lead to the recruiting or hiring more people, creating more jobs, and what have you. And that is what he means by the flat rate for these spare parts dealers. He didn't only end there. He also mentioned how he believes that it's time for us to align with the neighboring countries like Togo when it comes to our duties at our ports. It's a competitive world now, Umaru. Today, if you're an importer, you have a choice to either bring your goods through Togo port or to bring it through Ghana port. There must be a reason why you say, I'll bring it through Ghana. And I mean, it's without doubt that today our port duties are not entirely competitive. And it's a view that it's time for us to align with our neighboring countries to ensure that we become even more competitive and increase the activities at our port. Invariably, it would amount to the same thing or even more, because then you will have the activities at the port increasing, and then you will still be able to recover the revenue that you need for the national development. So it is only to ensure that the country becomes competitive, in terms of the activities at our ports.
Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir. That's Dennis Miracles Abuaji, his spokesperson of the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign team. Let's test the plans by the Vice President now. Geoffrey Kabute Okansi is a tax analyst and executive director of the Revenue Mobilization Africa. So you're welcome to Eyewitness News. So the Vice President has taken issue with the modus operandi of the GRA. First of all, do you agree that the operations of the GRA is tantamount to harassing businesses under the guise of collecting tax revenue? That's what the Vice President thinks. Do you agree that that's the model they appear to be deploying, which model is archaic and ought to be abandoned?
Respectfully, I disagree. Respectfully, I think the Vice President is a little bit far from the operations of the GRA in this regard. We were all here when they were using the Rambo-style approach that you just spoke about. They have a task force unit. And I think you should also understand this one. For a company that is evading taxes, a company, especially some of the foreign companies that were evading taxes, I don't think there was anything wrong with a company that said they will not go. You remember when they started the EVAT system? Some companies said they would not do it. And then the GRA had to descend on them to tell them and force them to do it. The GRA operates on legal remits. And I think it's rather unfortunate that the Vice President said that. And I'm saying that on the grounds that when the Vice President said they set ambitious targets, I don't believe it. They actually achieved their targets. So it is not an ambitious one. I rather think that...
Okay, actually, they do sometimes. They even say that they have overshot what they even were hoping to.
Sometimes they exceed their targets.
Exceed is the word I was looking for, yes.
But Omar, let me travel far with you on this one again. Again, let me remind you, if we were to be, and I've told people in forums that I insist, if we were to add the exemptions that we grant, so Omar, you are my tax collector, okay? For example, you are my tax collector, and you were supposed to collect from 10 people. They were all supposed to give you 10 cities. If you were to add all the 10 cities, you were supposed to come and report 100 cities to me. If I granted them in your field of work, if I granted them exemptions of 40 cities, I have reduced your gain. And so, if in this country we all sit up and we realize that look, the exemptions that we are granting, they are tax expenditures, so they actually have to be added. You have to add the exemptions that you are granting to the total collections you're doing a year. That one alone would have shot the tax collections to an excessive figure. For example, this year alone, you are targeting on granting $449 million of tax exemptions. Added to their collections for the year. If you have not granted them, then they will have collected that. That even aside, if the vice president actually looked at what he's saying very carefully, you'd realize that look, if collections were enforced well, like rightly said, not in a Rambo style, but the GRA responded to this our calls for no Rambo style by introducing the relationship officers. You can cross check with the VRA. They have done with the GRA. They've done some very wonderful things. They have actually introduced the relationship officers. They also have a 24-hour call line. They also have the Vice President's own initiative, which is a digitalized platform for payments. And this has actually helped in collections. The only thing you need to do is to actually help people and explain to people how to use these platforms, and also ensure that the relationship officers are on the ground. You know, banks have relationship officers, and you know how it works for them. Let's introduce same, and it works for them. And so I think if all these are done, rather, would rather be expecting to do what? Collecting more. Again, if government were rather expanding opportunities for jobs, okay, if what the debts have been to, all the debts we've collected, if we invested all these debts into sectors, that will give us returns, people will gain more employment, all those companies that will be created will pay company income tax. The payees, actually those who actually will work there, will pay as you earn, and it will mean that the returns would have gone higher for workers and companies, and that would have meant that the government itself would have collected more. So if they are not even over ambitious, the number of people that are occurrences like what we call the issues of transfer pricing, all in the name of illicit financial flows. You know, companies that are working in Ghana who engage in transfer pricing, there's something we call re-entry. Companies may pick gold from Ghana, they tag the gold from here. They'll smuggle it into Togo and enter into Ghana with it again, and that would mean that they will pay less by ECOWAS protocols. All these happened in 2018 alone. Gold that left Ghana to UAE. In the books of Ghana, we recorded 2 billion. In the books of the UAE, they recorded 7 billion. We have lost taxes on 5 million cedis worth of gold. Sorry, $5 million worth of gold. So, Umaru, you see, if we were looking at all these rent taxes, night and dawn economy, there are a lot of spaces. If we were collecting well, my brother, the GRA target should have been more. If they were collecting 1,000 today as their target, I expected them to be collecting 1,500. If they had done all this, I'm listening to you very well, okay? And then if you look at the issues that I've stated, they are all in the game. We can prove them. There are goods that are coming to Ghana. They will put the goods that they are transit goods to Burkina Faso. By the time they get to the middle somewhere, those goods find themselves back into our market. All these, talk to the DRA officials. They'll tell you about it. So really, that in 2018, 2017, there were actually exemptions that were granted that didn't go through Parliament, back and forth. So, my brother, look, on issues of exemptions alone, on issues of corruption, where people, tax evasion, the people who are actually abusing our tax regimes. Some time ago, there were companies that were, the free zones were giving them the opportunity to operate for 9 years before paying taxes. There was a particular company that operated for 9 years, changed them to another one, and then changed them 3 times. So, I mean, they were abused, one-ton abuses. So, these targets that were set by the GRE, my brother, if we sit down, I can prove to you that if these were not the things that were worrying us, corruption alone, look at the Auditor General's report and align some of the corruption to tax exemption and tax corruption.
Okay.
You realize that there are a lot of monies that we are losing, that if the collections were very good and well guided, my brother, I agree with the Vice President about no Rambo aside, which actually the relationship officers are handling as we speak now. But their targets have never been overly ambitious.
Okay. So
that has nothing to do with the Rambo style.
Okay, so you agree in part with what he said and disagree with the other
Not
part.
in part. If you say part, that means there's only one page that he mentions no Rambo style, which has already been addressed as I speak. Because there's a task force unit. But I'm sure you know that there's a nice word we use, reasonable force.
Yes.
For example, if you've not paid when they were using the EVAT, electronic VAT, and companies, to the extent I mentioned to you, senior, foreign companies that were telling us that they would not go onto that system. My brother, how else do you convince somebody when a law-backed agency like GRA comes to your shop and tells you, we are going to have this thing for you to check through? But tomorrow, let me ask you again, the GRA officials who were at the business points, they were not actually walking through the shops and harassing people. I went to about 10 shops. I started from the Hacho, Welcome, and I went to a lot of the Welcome shops, Palace shops. They were seated at one place. They only audit at a point. My brother, if you have nothing to hide, how worrisome would that be?
Okay.
The person will just check through your books.
What about this master idea? He actually talked about it when he did his lecture at the UPSA, and he's repeated that today. The issue of the flat tax rate in 2025 and also the tax amnesty to businesses if he becomes president.
I go with him on the issue of the flat tax rate. But then we need to kind of scrutinize it and look at it very well. Because then you make sure you test the regressive nature it could be. Because if Omaru, you were importing 10,000 goods, okay? And I was just importing 5 or 10. And we are giving the same percentage, then that means, look, you are benefiting more than I am doing. And that's what we call regressive taxation. At the end of the day, the rich continue to be rich, the poor will continue to be where they are, the middle people might drop. And what comes up of all this is that you expand the poverty gap. Now, on the issue of amnesty, again, the regressive nature of it again. So, if Omar, you were owing $30,000, and I was just owing some 600 cedis, and we all granted amnesty, at the end of the day, will you tell me it's actually progressive? It is not, my brother. And on the same point, let me tell you what, let's be careful. So it means that if, I'm not advising somebody to do, but I'm saying, so if a company sits back and will be waiting for the vice president, based on what he just said today, that means the company will be swerving the tax official and wait for January or June next year to get that amnesty. Omar, you don't think somebody can do it?
Well, we'll wait to see what happens. But thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you.
That's Jeffrey Kabute Okanse. He's a tax analyst and also executive director of the Revenue Mobilization Africa. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Still ahead, we have Point Blank, and my guest tonight is the CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. But before then, Eno has some stories.
The Electoral Commission has denied alleged disappearance of some of its biometric verification devices. The minority group in Parliament had alleged that the Electoral Commission, at a meeting with parliamentary leadership, confirmed the disappearance of 7 of the BVDs. The Commission, however, denies these allegations but confirms the disappearance of 5 laptops. Samuel Tete is a Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations.
To set the records straight, the Commission recently undertook routine servicing of its biometric voter registration kits. It was during this maintenance that we discovered the theft of 5 laptops from the biometric voter registration kits, not 7 BVDs as erroneously stated. For clarification, biometric voter registration kits, which comprise a laptop, camera, scanner, and printer, are entirely separate from the Commission's registration data systems and are incapable of manipulating election outcomes, as suggested. These kits, though crucial for voter registration, require specific activation to function accordingly.
Samuel Tete is the Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations at the Electoral Commission. Now, the family of John Kuma, the former Deputy Minister for Finance, has announced March 28, 2024 for his one-week observation. The family, at a meeting with President Akufo-Addo at the Jubilee House, said the family will need the support of the state to give him a befitting burial. President Akufo-Addo, on his part, described John Kuma as one of the new crop of leaders the NPP was grooming to up leadership roles in the party.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Easter is just around the corner, and Volta Serene Hotel has something extraordinary planned just for you from March 29th through to 1st of April 2024. Bobo celebrations and unforgettable moments await you. Our 2-night package starts at just 4,400 Ghana cedis for couples and 7,150 Ghana cedis for a family of 3 or 4. Looking for an extended stay? Our 3-night package is available at 5,604 Ghana cedis 50 pesos for couples and 9,350 Ghana cedis for a family of 3 or 4. Book your escape now on 054-153-9867 or 020-503-8763. It's Easter at Volta Serene Hotel. Come feel the serene touch.
You know your papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa! Bobo! Bobo, so how your engine now? It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Cause and you. Can feel better energy. Can't touch this. Charlie guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that? Yes, so somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched. Sancho Panzapa. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry. Chairman. Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Telecel is here!
Telecel, connecting energies. Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Inusaf. Let's settle for the details. Latest data from the Ghana Statistical Service indicates that the cumulative growth of the economy stood at 2.9% in 2023. This is a 0.9 percentage points drop from the 3.8% recorded in 2022. However, the fourth quarter also expanded by 3.8%. This was the highest for the 4 quarters of the year 2023. The annual growth is largely dominated by the service sector, which recorded an annual rate of 5.5%. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni noted that the growth rate for the industry sector contracted.
December 2023 was 50.6 billion Ghana cedis, indicating a 3.8 growth rate between the last quarter of 2022 and the last quarter of 2023. Looking at this from the sectoral point of view, we continue to see the dominance of the services sector in the last quarter of 2023. In the last quarter of 2023, the services sector had a share of 46.3% and the industry sector 32.3%, and the agriculture sector contributing about a fifth of the total GDP that was recorded in the last quarter of 2023. Highlights of annual GDP for 2023. The value of the economy from a constant GDP perspective was 186.6 billion Ghana cedis for the year 2023. This constant GDP signifies an annual growth rate of 2.9% for the year 2023. From a sectoral point of view, from an annual GDP perspective, we continue to see the dominance of the services sector. Also from an annual GDP perspective, as the services sector in 2023 had a share of 25.6%, followed by industry 31.7%, and agriculture 22.7% for the year 2023.
That was government statistician Professor Samuel Kobina Enim. The Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry is urging Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to consider removal of some taxes, including the COVID-19 levy. According to the Chamber, increase in taxes or the introduction of new ones puts businesses in a difficult situation of having to choose between passing on the extra cost to consumers or cutting the costs of business. President of the Chamber, Dr. Clement Osei-Amoako, made this known in a 10-point policy proposal to the NPP flag bearer.
It is worth noting that the current business environment is highly costly and one of the most expensive in Africa due to the high cost of borrowing, with the average lending rate hovering around 32%, high utility tariffs and excessive taxes. The situation has gradually led to loss of competitiveness in sectors we have competitive advantage, such as the cocoa production and processing, reduced production level in other sectors such as manufacturing, collapse of many local businesses, and transfer of sections of production by multinational companies to other African countries. This has led to increase in unemployment level, as indicated by the recent labor statistics released by the Ghana Statistical Service, which indicated that unemployment level had risen up to 2.7 million persons since the fourth quarter of 2022. Between second and third quarter 2023 alone, the economy has also recorded an increase in unemployment by 80,000 persons.
You heard the president of the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Clement Osei-Amoako. Energy analyst Dr. Yusuf Sulemana has welcomed the reconstitution of the board of the Tema Oil Refinery, but stresses the need for urgent action to ensure effective performance. President Akufo-Addo has nominated Leon Kandon Apinting to now chair an 11-member board for the refinery, with Kofi Tego as managing director of the company. Dr. Yusuf Sulemana tells Citi Business News the new leadership should be supported to achieve its mandate of putting TOR on the path to recovery.
And what I would urge is that appointing board is one, and getting them to work, handing them key deliverables and providing the atmosphere for them to work is another. So what I would urge is that as a matter of urgency, they have to be given what I would call the KPIs, key performance indicators, with a time frame, with some kind of objectives that are smart. And like I said, with the time frame for them to achieve that, it can be business as usual. Yes, we may have a new refinery running, which is Central Refinery, but that doesn't negate our ability to bring TOR back to functionality. Remember, Central is a privately owned refinery.
Dr. Yusuf Sulemana is an energy analyst. That's all for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News. The Business News on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Inu Safo. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Kra. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
There are some classy celebrations that call for whipping out your favorite China sets. Same goes for your luxury vehicle. Just any engine oil won't do. Premium understands premium best. The new Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon neutral properties is the one for your premium car. It's a fully synthetic motor oil designed using the Shell Pure Plus technology. Prevents dirt buildup with exceptional cleaning power, leaving your pistons cleaner than a whistle, up to 50% more than the industry standard, and gives you stronger, longer long-lasting engine performance. So, if you want your classic car to run smoothly like a Ferrari for years to come, use the Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP with carbon-neutral properties. Shell Helix Ultra 0W20 SP, designed for ultimate engine performance.
Ghana must grow.
KB, aka Kubeboga, now drives a Bugatti. He can even travel by road from Accra to London. Oh, wow. KB's source of wealth is agriculture. Yes, coconut business. After losing his bank job, he started supplying coconuts at events. Now, he owns large coconut plantations and employs many young people. Charlie, we all need to trust the process, because hope days.
There has never been a better time to enter into agribusiness. Take a bold step today with the Ghana Grows program, because every step pays. Ejuma Wokro, Ghana Grows, Hope Day, an initiative of the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with Springboard Roadshow Foundation and Limehouse.
Ladies and gentlemen, Telecel is here! Telecel, connecting energies.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
This is Point Blank on Eyewitness News. My name is Umaru Sandamado. Tonight on Point Blank, we're talking about strikes. They have a number of challenges, and they say these challenges are not being addressed. Because of that, they've decided to embark on a strike. These are pre-tertiary so teachers are the pre-tertiary level. My guest tonight is a man whose job it is to ensure we all have fair wages in this country, fair salaries. Not that the salary should be plenty, but it should be reasonably fair. There's an office we set up some 12 years ago. Actually, 17 years ago. We call it the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. It was an office bequeathed to the Mills government by the Kufuor administration. They came and lamented, but they implemented it, and it has been there all these years. So the CEO for that particular institution is Engineer Benjamin Arthur. He's joined me for Point Blank. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Oh, by the grace of God, and you?
Yeah, I'm okay. You are new at the office. How long since you became CEO?
Since January 4, 2022.
So you are maybe 1 year, 2 years.
2 years.
And they've been giving you baptism of fire.
Oh, yes, 2 years.
They've made you grow a mustache by force.
Yes. But it's part of the job.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Let us listen to the teacher unions that embark on a strike. That's actually the main reason we have you in studio. But before we listen to them, let's talk about the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission in a bit. I was saying there that it's 17 years old. The idea was to have fair wages for persons in public service, correct? Did I get that right?
Yes.
What is your mandate as a commission?
It's not just the fair wages, it's fair and realistic.
Realistic means can they be paid?
Fair, and realistic wages. Its mandate is not just limited to leading negotiations. We also advise government on salary administration, as well as advise government on performance indicators in the public service. We equally have mandate to also coordinate collective bargaining processes in other institutions where funding is directly or indirectly from public sources.
Okay.
So we have had mandate on some SOEs, where the funding is directly or indirectly from government.
How different are you?
Monitoring of the salaries and allowances, and the rest are also part of our mandate.
How different are you, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, from National Labour Commission and the Ministry of Labour?
Okay, Ministry of Labour is the mother body.
Ministry?
It's the ministry as in ministry.
So policy?
Yes, it's policy for policy coordination in employment and labour relations matters. But National Labour Commission is like a third party umpire.
Okay, an arbiter.
An arbiter, sort of under the labour laws. It's crafted by labour laws, but it's under the ministry.
So you're an agent of the ministry?
Yes.
Now,
an agency under the ministry.
When it comes to discussing salaries, the discussions are not done by the labour ministry. It's done by you. Is that what it means?
It's done. We are the agency directly in charge.
But when they do the so-called tripartite committee, you are not the tripartite.
No, we are not the tripartite. Tripartite is a different entity, which is, I cannot even say it's under the ministry. It's a secretariat that is under the ministry, but of course it's chaired by the sector minister.
So every public salary that is paid has to be pre-approved by you?
Not every.
Okay.
When you say public, you have included Article 71 office holders as well. But the pure public service plus some state-owned enterprises or quasi-state-owned enterprises are under us. Of course, there are some other public service entities that, by way of crafting of our constitution,
they are exempted.
They are not. I can't say they are exempted. The constitution made some express provisions for how
they should be paid.
Conditions of service should be determined.
So, the people who are supposed to be under you, since you came into office 17 years ago, has every public worker who's supposed to be paid under the salary, the single spine salary structure scheme, have you got everybody under it, or you are still working to get some persons under that?
Oh, we virtually, for those that I met already under, everybody.
No, not you as a person. I'm referring to the commission. So has the commission able to absorb everybody?
That's why I'm using the we. Then there are other new institutions that have also been roped in. In fact, the single spine is becoming more attractive. And there were a number of institutions that left the spine and realized that the rate at which those on the single spine are going up is very fast. Don't forget that last year, 2023, government granted 30% wage increase. And that has never happened since the formation of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. It's never happened that in one particular year, there's 30% jump in pay. And this year, we granted 23% for the first half of the year, and then 25% for the second half of the year.
And the beneficiaries are persons under Fair Wages or single spine?
Single spine. It's not just those on the single spine. There are also public institutions that are not on the single spine that some of these negotiations, affect. In fact, our negotiations, to a very large extent, for several years has even gone remotely to affect some Article 71 office holders.
I think there's been a call that we should put them also under the single spine. I mean, this is a political decision, a policy issue. I'm not sure you want to comment on that. Do you want to comment on that?
Oh, the conversation...
Whether there's a need to put the government workers, in the sense of political government workers, under the single spine.
The conversation is something that we hear all the time from many quarters. Only that I'm not able to comment on certain aspects because of my peculiar position.
Yeah.
I'm also a member of the Presidential Committee on Article 71
on
emolument. The 5 members. I'm one of them. So I'm not able to speak to some of these issues because of confidentiality.
So you are supposed
but these are proposals that, for several years, people have always, suggested that maybe one day we should all be lined up on one spine.
You are part of the committee that will decide how much the president should be paid, the vice president, the chief justice, and then the people in parliament. Is that what that's a committee? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see.
That's
okay.
that committee.
All right, please, Minister.
But I'm not here to speak to
No, I know.
I'm not official spokesperson.
I'm alerting the ministers that if they want to, they should come and see you so that I can put in a word for it. Okay, thank you for this background. Now let's settle on the key issues. Labor strife, it comes and goes. It's almost like there's a season where they go on a strike. Today, a group of 3 on strike. And let me say that in the past few weeks, you've had labor issues. I want us to listen to Isaac Owusu. He's the national president of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. He spoke to the media on behalf of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers, CCT.
The distribution of the laptops to all teachers is of concern. The rampant changes of the school calendar without recourse to negotiation with the teacher unions is affecting the smooth operation of the service. Also, the blockade of teacher salaries by the Office of the Special Prosecutor without recourse to the laid down procedures is a major worry. Ladies and gentlemen, are called to action. In the light of the above circumstances and given the delays and unfulfilled promises on the part of the employer and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and also threat from the rank and file of our members, we, the pre-tertiary teacher union, do stand with our members and hereby declare a nationwide industrial action effective today. We declare an industrial action effective today, Wednesday, 20th March 2024, to press home our demand.
So that's Isaac Owusu. He's a national president of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT. Mr. CEO, so you've heard him there. They say that nothing has been coming up from your side and they are left with nothing but to deploy their last tool, which is to embark on a strike. What's your comment?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. If you heard him right, he mentioned the fact that management of the schools or management of that sector had not engaged them in mapping up the school calendar. And the question is this a strikeable matter? Obviously, no.
Based on what? Because I asked, before you came on air, I spoke to the CCT president. I said that the reasons they raise, are they cogent enough? He says yes, he's a member of the GES system, and he thinks that his welfare is necessary. And his welfare...
definitely, but a strike is not the option in this case. It's not an option in this case.
The school calendar is what? How people teachers go to school.
When school should reopen, when it should close, when examinations should be conducted.
They should have no hand in or say in that, you think?
Oh, but these are pure management decisions. Of course, you still have GES members occupying some management positions, so they are obviously involved.
Okay.
Don't forget, if you go to GES headquarters, most of the people working there are teachers. So, what has happened to dialogue?
So, for that, you think it's a non-issue at all?
No, what has happened to dialogue? What's the option of a dialogue in this matter? So let me relay that one to the doorsteps of those who obviously may have to deal with that. Then they cited blockage of salaries of some of their members by OSP.
Office of Special Prosecutor.
Yeah, but what are the issues concerned? Are you not interested in why some of your members have had their, salaries blocked? Are you not interested in going down deep to know? And I have said time and time again, when we began to do the payroll monitoring, people, made a lot of derogatory comments. People, put impediments on our way, but we were never perturbed, simply because it is only a disservice to the one working when you find out that a colleague who is not working continues to draw pay, who obviously might have not even had your qualification and might have strayed onto a payroll, is equally being paid, when you, the one actually working, is also being paid the same. You should feel cheated. So I thought that in any case, they may have to collaborate, like the way we got their involvement in certain areas, in order to weed out what needs to be weeded out. Definitely is an exercise that should help all of us.
So you leave that to OSP as well?
Oh yes, I will leave that one to OSP. But we also did some payroll monitoring, which inured to all of us our benefits, because for those who were not deserving, there were people who had even died and strangely had been on the payroll for quite some time. People had even, left for other jurisdiction, resigned, and for some reasons, because of the lengthy nature of our bureaucracy.
So the auditing is necessary?
It's very, very necessary.
Okay. Because so that should not be a reason for going on strike?
It should not be a reason, because if government is able to free that space, the next time you ask for more, government has more capacity to give you more.
Okay. Let's talk about the issues that have to do with your office.
For our office, I can state categorically that there has not been any delay at all. Simply because here before me is the rules of engagement. And when you study it carefully, you know what we all agreed to do, even when we disagree in the course of our discourse. When we disagree, we agree to resort to the mechanisms in the Labour Act 2003, which is Act 651. We also agreed somewhere along the line that the new items that they had brought to us could not be dealt with there and then. We started with 16 items. We met 2 times before we went into another meeting, which was for 3 days continuous. On the 3rd day, which was the final day, we were able to agree to 10 items, leaving 6. Even out of the 6, some of them were very new that had just been tabled. So we all agreed that, look, fair wages could not sit there and simply say that we have agreed to the new ones or not, because we are not the spending officers. We are not in charge of the national coffers of this country. So obviously, if we want to spend, we want government to spend in a certain wise, there is a need to go back to Ministry of Finance, sit down with them and let them know what our recommendations are, and they also let us know what government can do.
What are these new items?
I will not want to go into specifics.
Okay.
Simply because we have signed some confidentiality agreement that I don't want to violate it. So we were able to agree to some of these things. Then we agreed that we will go and seek mandates, which we had done. Yesterday, we actually wrote to them and called some of the executives who are championing the collective bargaining processes from their end. And we all agreed that Thursday we are going to meet. A copy before me is the invitation letter. I can help you with a copy. This is the invitation letter.
To who?
We agreed to NAT and to the president of NAT, president of NAGRA, CCT, and the rest. We sent it to them.
When?
Yesterday, and we even called.
They say you sent the letter at 8 p.m. in the night. Who does that?
He said you sent the letter at 8 p.m.
Yes.
And who got it?
The CCT official who I spoke to on the show earlier today said that you acted in bad faith. What you did, you wanted to negotiate, and Herbert Akufos, and that's his name, you sent them a letter for an invitation to a meeting at 8 p.m. when you realized that they were going to declare a strike.
No, because nobody had even told us that they were going to declare a strike. And I must be very sincere with you. If not for some political reasons, it never happens in any country that a few group of people will meet and simply declare a strike, setting aside the rules. We have laws in this country that mandate you to serve a notice for 7 days. You are a journalist. You are very well versed in these matters. Ask them.
They didn't serve that notice to you?
No notice had been served.
Okay. Please.
So I'm coming, if you will allow me to learn.
Just a second.
Nobody served that notice.
Okay. Just a second then. Enjo Kabonu has called into the show. I want us to hear what he wants to say.
Yeah,
if you can just
me to I'll let you
so
that he may be able to respond.
Okay, then land. Yes.
So if you don't serve a notice, it's just like the two of us are sitting on the edges of a bench, and all of a sudden you just jump up. And who is able to predict that?
Yeah. So that's what they did to you.
Exactly.
They
that is what
ambushed you.
has happened, because we never had any indication that they had even such a grievance to go and cite it somewhere, and we never knew, because they never also gave us indication that they were not going to show up. And we have had these conversations. You know, we are friends.
This letter you sent to them, you were inviting them to a meeting which day?
On Thursday.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
And this was to continue with discussions.
Exactly. To even, if possible, and we could agree, we could conclude. So there was no point in time that we even could imagine that is what they had thought of doing. Because obviously, even if that's your intention, you will serve notice.
You should alert. Okay.
You will serve notice.
Let's hear from Enjo. You can wear the headset so you hear him. This one. Enjo, you're welcome. What do you want to say?
Thank you very much. In fact, I am very disappointed. I'm very disappointed in the type of the choice of words of Engineer Atta. That 3 people can go and sit somewhere and declare a strike for all teachers. This strike is in response to the inept attitude that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is exhibited to the issues of our conditions of service. The last time we had any meaningful meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission was in Koforidua last year. And we are in the month of March. We wrote a letter to them indicating to them that by the 29th of February, when our conditions of service discussions have not been concluded, we will advise ourselves. If he is saying that he did not get that letter, then there is a problem with his office.
He wants to respond to that directly. Angel, let me just reason. You are saying that that's not correct.
Angel, good evening, my brother.
I will not respond.
Angel, you have to be a nice person. Respond. Angel, no matter how agreed you are,
he's a brother.
You should respond to it.
Obviously. But just to put in, Angel.
Okay, let's hear him.
Angel, just to put.
We are very angry.
Angel, just to put it in perspective, you just mentioned that since last year we have not met. You have forgotten that from the 19th to 21st of January, we met in Koforidua. You, as a person, was not there. But for 3 continuous days, we were there. We closed on a Sunday. And that was the last engagement. So to say and put it on air that the last engagement was in 2023 is incorrect.
Angel?
Respectfully.
Hello.
Yes, you've heard that.
19th.
That meeting that
at Capital View Hotel. Anybody can check.
You didn't have a mandate.
We had a mandate.
Some of the demands would
not to banter you. That was where we were able to agree to 10 issues. If we didn't have mandate, how were you able to agree to 10 issues out of 16?
Those 10 issues were procedural issues.
So there was a meeting. His point is that there was a meeting, and you said there was no meeting.
Oh, we didn't consider it as a meeting because even there was almost a walkout.
Even though you went there for 3 days, 3 consecutive days.
Let him tell you who even financed that engagement.
Okay. Anyway, because I don't have a lot of time, I spoke to your representative earlier. Quick one. You did not serve notice of this, your intending.
We have served notice, and Labour Commission is having a copy of the notice that we sent.
When did you send the notice?
We served the notice on the date we sent. I mean, because I'm not in the office talking to you.
Yeah.
We served the notice to them on the date that we gave the final ultimatum that if by the 29th of February we don't conclude our negotiations, we'll advise ourselves.
Okay, if you could kindly share that letter with us, because he says, have you seen that CEO? Have you seen that letter?
No.
Okay.
And what do they mean by advice?
Okay.
To advise yourselves. What's the meaning?
No, advise yourself. When labor people say they advise, it means it's a strike.
You are chief executive of Fair Wages and Salary. When labor says they will advise themselves, you want an explanation?
No, I think he knows. He was just trying to. Okay, Angel, thank you for the intervention. Angel Kabonu is president of NAGRAT. They have said that they've sent a letter to NLC, so it means that week. I mean, you have not seen it, but it does not mean that there's no letter. So that wiki is your own defense. Then what's your last defense?
I have checked.
When did you check?
Today.
And NLC told you that there's no letter.
Before coming to this studio, you don't expect a chief executive to just walk into a studio and be speaking. Okay. That's why I have my filing.
So the NLC told you that they've not received any letter.
Such notice.
Okay.
In line with the labor laws. But you see, for me, I have not come here to litigate anybody. What is of importance is that we get to meet and dialogue, because wherever we go, it will take a dialogue to make progress. And that's why we're calling on them, that we've already fixed a meeting for Thursday. If indeed your complaint, which if it's supposed to be taken as a very genuine complaint that there is a delay, then I can tell you that the strike that they have declared is rather what is going to jeopardize the negotiations.
Because you can't continue while they're on strike.
Exactly. So if the delay is the issue, and assuming you had even planned to go on strike because you were not hearing from the employer, and God being so good, yesterday, unknown to the employer, you have even received an invitation. You could simply hold on with your actions, which we didn't know before God the man. None of us even knew that they were going to do that and declare strike there and then, that today we are laying down our tools. So granted that that is what you had purposed to do. To what end? Is to get the employer's attention, or to get a third party's intervention. So if God be so good, those prayers have been answered by getting an invitation. In good faith, quickly you get on board and see the outcome and see if your expectations will be met.
So for you, they should show up on Thursday for this meeting.
Oh yes, we are pleading with them that we are forever partners, together. Government will continue to need their services. And as teachers, public sector teachers, they will continue to need their government, and for the employer to continue to pay them, as well. So there is no option for the two parties than to agree to meet and make sure that those who are very expectant of the outcome of that negotiation will begin to see the fruits of it. But if we are drifted apart and we can't even have a conversation, Angel, for example, is a very good brother of mine. So to say on air that even he will not even accept a greeting
from you,
of course, I know.
That's actually what I was going to ask. Do they have a personal issue with you as a person?
No, not at all.
It appears that your use of the word that only three people showed up to call.
No, I said that the labor laws, we need to have a second look at it, where three people can meet. Which I'm stating the fact that three people can meet, not necessarily theirs. I was just giving a general idea that where three people can meet and say that their constituent have asked them to declare a strike and just sign a notice. Go.
But those three people have something called power of attorney. They are representing people.
No. I'm drawing our attention to something.
So you don't want them to go on strike?
No. That's not easy. Worldwide, is a right.
Yes.
For workers.
So what's your point with the three people signing?
I'm saying I was only drawing the attention to the fact that we need to have a second look at our structures.
So that what? How many people should sign for a strike to?
Oh, it's not the signing. It's not the signing. I'm drawing our attention to something that I think is not possibly this forum to discuss, because you don't even have the time.
Okay, I actually don't. So your last word before we leave.
Well, for me and my good brothers, being the leadership of NAT, NAGRAT, and CCT, we have always engaged on the platform of base pay negotiations concerning their own emolument. They should keep faith with the employer if not for nothing at all, they should remember this, that is the same government that met all of us and agreed to 23% and 25%. It's the same government that during the COVID era, when other governments were laying workers off, government kept faith with them and made sure that not a single one of them lost his or a job. We cannot be drifted apart. The language for us to speak is dialogue, and that is the dialogue. Even when we get to National Labour Commission, we will definitely have to sit and dialogue, and that is why we're calling them to come on board for us to continue to engage, so that we bring this issue to a speedy end.
Thank you so much, Engineer Benjamin Alpha, CEO of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. My name is Umaru Sandamado. This has been Eyewitness News. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.